Today, we're going to dive into a magical and captivating fairy tale, Hansel and Gretel, the brave siblings in the enchanted forest. Let's listen closely to discover their journey full of challenges, love, and courage. If you enjoy fairy tales like this, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of our upcoming stories. Now, let's begin our tale. On a time, in a quiet village on the edge of a vast forest, there lived a poor woodcutter with his two children, a little boy named Hansel and his younger sister, Gretel. After their kind mother passed away, the man married a woman who did not love the children. Times were hard, food was scarce, and winter was creeping in with its icy fingers. One night, as the wind howled outside, the stepmother whispered cruelly to the woodcutter by the dying fire, "We have no more bread, no more flour. Tomorrow, take the children deep into the forest and leave them there. We cannot feed 4 mouths anymore." The father's heart ached. He loved his children dearly, but fear and hunger made him weak. He nodded, his eyes filled with sorrow. Hansel, who had been lying awake on his straw bed, heard everything. Quietly, he slipped outside under the moonlight and filled his pockets with shiny white pebbles from the garden. The next morning, the stepmother smiled falsely and handed the children a piece of dry bread each. "We're going to the forest to gather wood," she said. As they walked through the thick trees, Hansel dropped one pebble at a time, leaving a glowing trail behind them. Deep into the woods they went until their father lit a fire and said, "Sit here and rest. We'll be back soon." But the parents never returned. When night fell, the moon rose and lit up the forest floor. The pebbles sparkled like little stars. Holding Gretel's hand tightly, Hansel followed the path of light, and by dawn, the children were safely home. The stepmother was furious. A few days later, she tried again. This time, she locked the door so Hansel couldn't collect pebbles. Instead, the clever boy crumbled his bread and scattered the crumbs along the path. But when night came again, and they searched for the trail, there was nothing left. The birds of the forest had eaten every last crumb. Hansel and Gretel wandered through the woods for days. Their feet ached, their bellies were empty, and hope began to fade. But on the third day, a sweet smell drifted through the trees, something warm, sugary, and magical. They followed the scent until, between the branches, they saw it, a cottage made entirely of sweets. The roof was thick with gingerbread, the windows were sugar glass, and the walls were iced with creamy frosting. Starving, they broke off bits of candy and nibbled joyfully. Suddenly, the door creaked open, and an old woman stepped out. "My dear children," she said sweetly, "who brought you here? Come inside, there's food, warmth, and soft beds." But the old woman was no kind soul. She was a wicked witch who had built her candy house to lure children in and eat them. The next morning, she locked Hansel in a cage and forced Gretel to do chores. "Your brother must fatten up," she hissed. "When he's plump, I'll bake him into a pie." Each day she would poke at Hansel through the bars and ask for his finger. But Hansel, clever as ever, held out a chicken bone. The witch, nearly blind, couldn't tell the difference. She waited and waited, but the boy never seemed to grow. At last, she lost her patience. "Plump or not, I'll bake you tomorrow," she screeched. She ordered Gretel to heat the oven. "Check if it's hot enough," the witch snapped. "I don't know how," Gretel said sweetly. "Can you show me?" The witch leaned closer, muttering, and just as she opened the oven door, Gretel gave a mighty shove, pushing the old crone straight inside. She slammed the door shut and locked it. Silence fell. The wicked witch was gone. Gretel ran to the cage and freed Hansel. Together, they searched the house and found chests filled with gold coins, pearls, and jewels, treasures the witch had hoarded for years. They filled their pockets and began the long journey home. They followed the rivers, listened to the birds, and trusted the sun to guide them. At last they saw their old cottage, and their father ran to meet them with tears in his eyes. The stepmother had vanished, and from that day forward, the little family lived in peace. With the witch's treasure, they never went hungry again. But more than the gold, they cherished the bond they had. Brave, clever Hansel, gentle Gretel, and the love that brought them home.